I'm talking with my friend Steve Carter. He is an author. He is a speaker. He goes around the country. He also has a podcast named Home Team that hopefully he'll be able to highlight during this time together. But Steve, man, thank you for coming on and sharing some pearls of wisdom with us today.
Well, I don't know about pearls, but I will say it's so good to see you.
Yeah.
And man, it's a gift. I think the world of you, bro.
I appreciate that, man. Sweet pics, by the way. A little art back there behind you.
Oh yeah. So I got a little Banksy over here, and
Nice.
then a friend of mine made this that I just absolutely love. She gave it to me. She's a fashion designer, but she's freakishly talented. So
nice. If you can combine two animals, what animal would you be?
Well, I think I would start with a Wolverine so I could make a quick and easy opportunity to plug the Michigan Wolverines. So I'd probably, and it's also a superhero. So I'd go Wolverine, and then probably, maybe a lion, because I as you can see the painting behind me. I was with Ray Lewis once, and Ray, he was so great at breaking down a huddle and when he was with the Baltimore Ravens. And so we brought him out to this church I was working at on Father's Day. And I had all of the men, grandfathers and fathers and uncles and dudes who wanted to be a dad someday stand. And I just said, hey, these are some of the greatest men I know. Would you break down a huddle and just give them a word? And he just got up and he said, I want to tell you about two animals. He said, an eagle never flies with pigeons. So fly higher, men. And then two, a lion. He said, it's not the fastest animal in the jungle. It's not the smartest animal in the jungle. It's not the strongest animal in the jungle, but he knows who he is, and he's the king. So start living like kings. And so I was like, oh my goodness, and every guy was like, we're ready to go. We're ready to go. We're ready to go. It just, so Wolverine and lion, we'll do this.
What makes you smile? And it can't be a person and it can't be a pet.
What makes me smile is every time Ohio State and Notre Dame lose. What makes me smile is incredibly good Mexican food with great guacamole and chips and salsa. What makes me smile are perfect waves. And what makes me smile is the day that sports actually returns to ESPN.
What is something that you took for granted that you realized during this time?
It's a great question. I think the piece that I took for granted was how quickly something could change overnight.
Yeah.
And so what I mean is like, every weekend I typically left Friday night or Saturday morning and flew to Indianapolis, flew to Chicago, flew to Detroit, spoke on the weekend, flew home. Overnight, grounded airplanes, shelter in place, massive churches, unable to have gatherings for all the right reasons.
Yeah.
So I think it's just in the sense how quickly something could come and change overnight.
Yeah.
I think so I think in the taking for granted is just like, man, the real blessing that I had in what I used to be able to do. I loved my job. I love speaking. I love writing, love teaching, love pastoring, love helping people, but just it's changed overnight. And so now it has to look totally different. So.
Yeah. So then even going into that, give us a little bit of background. You did mention that you speak. Are you still doing the podcast as well? Give us a little background of you and your family.
Yep. So married for over 16 years to my wife, Sarah. We live in Arizona. Got two kids, 11-year-old Emerson, 6-year-old daughter, Mercy June. And I've been really, really fortunate, had some incredible mentors and poured into me, and was a pastor in Grand Rapids, Michigan at a church called Mars Hill for a number of years. And then pastor at a great church in Southern California where I met James and his family called Rock Harbor. And then was the last 6-7 years in a church in Chicago called Willow Creek, and then stepped out and now just kind of travel, write, and coach communicators across the country, and doing this podcast with ESPN kind of sportscaster Sam Ponder, and then NFL player Sam Acho. And it's we gather weekly and we just talk about faith, culture, sports, and family, and it's an absolute ball. It's so much fun.
Wow. So even talking about being an author, you wrote the book, The Invitational Life. What is, give us a little, just a quick synopsis of what that book is about.
But the idea was we all have a story, and our story fits into God's story. And trying to help people learn how to risk themselves to align with God's heartbeat for humanity. And so anytime I can step outside of my comfort zone and literally get to know someone and get to hear their story, get to hear their pain, get to hear their struggle, and it's just it's amazing because we all are image bearers, you know, and we all have God's like divine essence within us, like how he made us and wired us, and characteristics of him. And so it's just so fun. It's like you know, a journalist was asking Michelangelo, not the Ninja Turtle, but the artist once, like, how do you create the statues that you create? And he just looked at this huge slab of clay and marble and he said, the statue's right here. I just got to cut away the dead pieces. Wow. And I think what's so fun for me is being able to see the beauty, the goodness, what I see God wanting to do in someone's life, and just calling that out. So it's just a book of stories, and just kind of a call to people to live a life that invites people into a grander vision.
Yeah. So you even mentioned too that you go around the country and speak at different churches and different forums and whatnot. You're coaching, you get on planes. That's limited. That's challenging right now. Even relating your book, The Invitational Life, how can we move forward and implement some of those things that you talk about in the book? You can't go to a church, right? So what are you doing to speak into people's lives currently?
Yeah, so you know, this weekend I'm in 4 locations at once, because I was able to film 3 talks wow. that will serve 3 communities. One outside Chicago, and another one in Houston, another one 40 different campuses in Kentucky and Tennessee. Wow. So in some ways it's like, this is really strange, and in many ways it's also, oh my goodness, like the platforms that we have available in regards to YouTube and filming and Facebook Live, like yeah. it's possible to not just be stuck in one location. And so it's kind of this really new day. And then, so I think that's it. And it's bizarre. I'm used to speaking to rooms, not to cameras. Yeah. And so learning how to do that. And then I think you have to be creative. And I think with FaceTime and Marco Polo and Zoom, I wish I would have bought stock in that 3 months ago. And yeah, and you know, opportunities for chats. Like I feel like there has been a deep connection. And here's the greater truth, James, that I feel like I can't stop thinking about is everybody. It doesn't matter if you're talking to like Fortune 100 CEO, everyone. It doesn't matter if you're talking to someone who's like just scraping by, hustling. Everybody has been saying, this isn't sustainable. And what's not sustainable, I'm not talking about financial, I'm not talking about political, what I'm talking about is the soul. The soul and the speed and the hustle and the going and the doing. And you think about this, and in the ancient texts and scriptures, you know, they had this thought of this enemy, and the enemy was someone who wanted to pull you out of the present moment. So the enemy wanted to bring you back to the past and remind you, look at what you did. you're not going to amount to anything. Or the enemy wanted to pull you into the future and start to worry you and make you anxious and stressful. What's tomorrow? What's tomorrow? What's tomorrow? And yet the whole world has slowed down. And the gift is, can we finally learn how to be fully present? Like,
Yeah.
because I don't control yesterday because it already happened. I can't control tomorrow because it hasn't happened yet. The only thing that anybody controls is right now.
Yeah.
Like how we choose to live right now. And how I choose to live right now prepares me for what God has in store for me tomorrow. And so the gift is, I have an 11-year-old that's home. The gift is putting him to bed every night. The gift is not having to get on a plane and travel. The gift is sitting with my 6-year-old and like us skateboarding yesterday. The gift is sitting out on the back with a glass of wine with my wife and talking with her and hearing about our day and venting about how stir crazy we feel, and yet feeling so present to the moment.
Yeah.
And I think I didn't have this, and I hate to admit it, I didn't have this strength in my own doing to slow down. I needed the world to tell me to stop. And most people don't. It's either their body tells them
Yeah.
because they tear their Achilles, or they have a heart attack, but the whole world is just slowing down.
Yeah.
And so my hope is that we can receive it and continue on with it.
I was having that same conversation of all the goodness that is coming out of this situation that we're going through. A lot of what you just said, dinner around the table, conversations, meaningful conversations, even with people who I haven't spoke to in a while, and noticing how people are a little bit more patient. People are a little bit more understanding right now. People are a little bit more kind right now, at the supermarkets, on the streets, wherever. And that's really cool to see. And I think it's going to be interesting if we can be in this long enough where it's going to carry over to when we get past this COVID-19, how much of that is going to stick and how much of that is going to go away. You know, a lot of people are dealing with anxiety, fear, hopelessness, uncertainty of whatever the future is. What are some things that you can tell us?
Yeah, I mean, number one, it's just normal. I mean, I think if you weren't feeling those thoughts in this season, I might want to check your pulse, because when you are in an unknown, uncertain time, and the spiritual language, they call it the desert. You know, it's literally where I live right now. It's in the place of the deserted. You don't know where it's leading. You don't know what's next. And when you feel deserted and you feel unknown, you wonder, God, are you with me? God, are you for me? Like, did I do something to cause this? Am I going to be okay? Will you provide? All those are the most human of questions, right? And so one of the things that I do and just practices is obviously like just in the word, I journal, I write. I just am really just breathing and just like really just having times of prayer. But when I have those anxious thoughts, I'm reminded of what my professor, Dr. Nofel Staten, when I went to school in Fullerton, he was my Greek professor. He used to be the air traffic control tower leader at O'Hare International Airport, so in Chicago. So he's like, you want to know what pressure is? Yeah, that's pressure. And he's like, you want to know what power is? That's power. Because I could tell United Airlines, you're not landing today. I could tell American Airlines, I'm rerouting you to Milwaukee. That's power. And then he flipped the conversation and he said, you have to view your head and your heart like it's in, like you're the air traffic control tower. And what negative thoughts are you going to choose to land? What shameful thoughts, what anxious thoughts are you going to allow yourself to land? Are you going to allow to land in your brain and in your heart? And he's like, so give yourself an airport code. So I made mine SRC, and just when any of those thoughts are coming in, reroute them.
Wow.
And I was like, oh. So now every negative thought, I just send to Tuscaloosa, Alabama, or to Columbus, Ohio, because that's where the Buckeyes live. I just send them there. But even in the scriptures, it will say, cast all your anxiety on the one who cares for you. And in real seriousness, when I have those negative thoughts, just cast them to Christ. I cast them to the cross. And even as a pastor, I have to do this multiple times a day. And even in a time of uncertainty and desert and crisis and unknown, I have to do it multiple times, 10 times 10 times 10 a day. But here's the thing. I don't want anything to affect my peace. And anxiety will turn your peace into pieces. And it will pull you either into the future or into the past. And remember, it's about living in the present, being fully present to God and what he wants to do in and through you. And so that's what I'm committed to in this season, and trying my best just to breathe some life into other people.
Man, those are some nuggets in there. That's awesome. So you're saying you're staying home, obviously safer in place. How are you guys navigating through that?
Yeah, I mean, let's just be honest. Overnight we became a homeschool. Overnight, we became like, a little room became an office. Overnight, everything changed, right? I think we're just, number one, trying to be kind to ourselves and really just look at this going, hey, these are unknowns. My daughter, she loves to tell everyone, social distancing, 6 feet. She doesn't even know what 6 feet means, but she's like, but I think we're trying not to create fear, but just trying to talk honestly and just be really prayerful. But really look at this time. And so we've been doing 10 to 2 as like kind of schooling times. And my wife's created this whole like awesome, like just super hip, like opportunity for them to grow and create and do math and learn. And then we're just doing a lot of hiking because we've got some trails behind our house, and just getting outside and being really intentional around the table, like you talked about. And then, almost doing family movie night every night. It's just like, just crushing like, certain movies, and it's been fun. So, and when you live in the Midwest and you've experienced this, it's like you've been snowed in. And so when you get snowed in, what do? You just grab some blankets and slippers and make some hot cocoa. And that's all we're doing. We just feel a little snowed in, and, ask us in 3 more weeks, it might be a little bit more crazy and mutiny, but right now it feels like a true gift.
Right on. Any last thoughts that you might have that would encourage us during this time?
When you think about sports, people often talk about how sports teach character. And I think in some ways it does. I think actually sports exposes character because you're put in stressful situations. And really in times of uncertainty and times where you are confronted with the illusion of control, all your counterfeit gods appear. All the places you find your identity, all the places you find the validation, all the places you find like you're enough, all the places that you can achieve and crush and kill and hustle and make and become, all of that. And then it's gone. And so I think my just word would be, number one, be kind to yourself, because everybody is in this. And then number two, get curious of where you have gone and where you are choosing to go. Because, I think for a lot of us right now, we're like, it's not COVID-19, it's COVID-15 because of the amount of weight I've been putting on from like eating, it's for some of us, it's like eating our anxiety away. And for some of us, it's I'll still go on Amazon. I'm still going to buy. I'm just trying to feel. And at the end of the day, like, what this gift of COVID is, and that's probably could be an overstatement on many fronts, and it's painful and it's sad and it's scary. But the gift of it is that you're confronted with all of your illusions and counterfeits. And you're confronted with the reality how fragile this thing is, and you have to keep taking that to its logical next place. So if life is fragile, what does that mean for my life?
Yeah.
And what does that mean for how I want to live my life?
Yeah.
And what does that mean for the end of my life?
Yeah.
And what does that mean for where I put all of my hope in?
Yeah.
What tells me I'm good and okay? Like all of that. That's the beauty of the desert. That's the beauty of crisis. That's the beauty of uncertainty. So that's what I would just say is, for many people, they won't answer those questions because they'll go run to a bottle, to some pills, to maxing out their credit card, to food, to another relationship. And sometimes when you're shelter in place, the best part for you to ask is, what is the real place that I find my shelter?
Solid. So if people want to find you, I know you're doing these daily Psalms in the desert on Facebook. Where can people find you? I also mentioned that you go around the country speaking. Give us some of your contact info. People can find you.
So it's super simple. stevecarter.org, O-R-G. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Steve Ryan Carter. And then on Facebook, like you said, just search Pastor Steve Carter. And Home Team Pod, like if you just went to Home Team Podcast, if you search that, you'll see Sam Ponder, Sam Acho, and myself. So yeah, please subscribe, check us out. Love to hear, connect.
Yeah, definitely. We'll reach out and connect with you there. But man, I really want to thank you. Just even hearing from you, it just reminded me of the great times, the rich times that we had. And I know people are going to get encouraged by what you've said today. And I really appreciate your time, man, and appreciate your friendship over the years. And just keep rocking it, man. And just look forward to seeing how what the future holds, right, for you and just really for all of us. But thanks so much, and appreciate you.
Much love, and go Clippers, go Wolverines, go Cubs. And all you Laker fans are lucky. Put that in this. They are lucky that the NBA season got canceled. That's all I'm going to say. Kawhi Leonard.
Okay, well, that's for another time, but yes, okay. Thank you.
Yeah, bro. So good to see you. Tell your family I said hi.
Appreciate it, man.
Cool, bro. Appreciate you, man.
Yeah, good
Talk
to
to you soon.
Later.